Andrej Karpathy hasn't typed a line of code since December. Not because he stopped working, because he delegates to AI agents for 16 hours a day. His words: I'm in a perpetual state of AI psychosis. Something flipped. He went from 80-20 writing code himself to 20-80 delegating to agents. And now it's even more than that. This is the most raw, honest conversation about where AI coding is right now. From the person who co founded OpenAI and built Tesla's autopilot. Here's everything he revealed on the No Priors podcast. Karpathy describes a mental state he calls AI psychosis. The feeling that you're not at the frontier, that other people on Twitter are doing things you should be doing, that your subscription quota is not maximized. He compares it to his PhD days, when he felt nervous if his GPUs weren't running. Now, it's not about flops, it's about tokens. Your token throughput is the new measure of productivity. He looks at Peter Steinberg's setup: multiple Codex agents tiled across a monitor, each running 20-minute tasks in parallel, 10 repos checked out simultaneously. And Karpathy says, that's what I want to be. The actions are no longer write a line of code, they're macro actions. Here's a new feature: give it to Agent 1. Here's a refactor: give it to Agent 2. One agent does research, another writes code, another builds a plan. You're orchestrating, not typing. Here's the phrase that defines this era. When something doesn't work with AI agents, Karpathy says, it feels like a skill issue, not a capability issue. The models are capable enough. The problem is you haven't figured out how to use them correctly. You didn't give good enough instructions. Your Claude.md file isn't detailed enough. You don't have the right memory tool set up. You're the bottleneck, not the AI. This is a massive mindset shift. In the old world, when software couldn't do something, you blamed the software. In the new world, when agents fail, you blame your prompting, your setup, your architecture. Everything is a skill issue now. And that's actually empowering because skills can be improved. You can get better at this. And every time you do, there's an unlock. AutoResearch is Karpathy's most ambitious project right now. The premise is simple but radical. Remove yourself as the bottleneck. Don't be the researcher in the loop looking at results, deciding the next experiment. Instead, define an objective, define a metric. Set the boundaries of what the agent can and cannot do, and hit go. Let it run overnight. He tried this on his NanoChat model, a model he'd already tuned by hand using 2 decades of deep learning experience. He thought it was well optimized. Then he let AutoResearch run overnight, and it found improvements he missed: weight decay on value embeddings, Adam betas that weren't sufficiently tuned, joint interactions between hyperparameters that humans miss because we tune them one at a time. His conclusion: researchers shouldn't be running hyperparameter optimizations. They shouldn't be looking at results. There's objective criteria. Just let it go forever. The name of the game is maximize your token throughput and don't be in the loop. This is where it gets wild. Karpathy describes a concept he calls the program.md layer. Right now, a Claude.md or program.md file is a set of markdown instructions telling agents how to work. Karpathy wrote one for AutoResearch. Do this, then that, try these architecture ideas, look at the optimizer. But he wrote it by hand. And then he asks, when is the model going to write a better program.md than you? Because program.md is code. And once it's code, you can optimize it. Imagine this: multiple research organizations, each described entirely by markdown files, different strategies, different risk tolerances. Some do fewer stand ups, some are more aggressive. You run them all. See which one produces the most progress. Then you give all that data to a model and say, write a better program.md. This is recursive self improvement through organizational design. Not improving the model weights, improving the instructions that tell agents how to work. Karpathy has a brutally honest take on where agents still fail. He describes talking to AI as simultaneously talking to an extremely brilliant PhD systems programmer and a 10-year-old. The jaggedness is extreme. Ask it to build complex software, and it moves mountains for hours autonomously. Then ask it to tell a joke, and you get the same crappy joke from 5 years ago. Why do scientists not trust atoms? Because they make everything up. That joke hasn't changed in years. And that reveals something fundamental about how these models are trained. Reinforcement learning optimizes what's verifiable: code that passes tests, math that's correct, logic that's provably sound. But jokes, nuance, soft skills, reading human intent, these aren't being optimized for. They're outside the RL loop. Getting better at code doesn't automatically make you better at jokes. The intelligence isn't general, it's jagged. Brilliance in some domains, mediocre in others. Karpathy looked at Bureau of Labor Statistics data and made a critical distinction: digital jobs versus physical jobs. AI right now is a ghost in the digital world. It can manipulate bits at the speed of light, but it can't manipulate atoms. So, professions that primarily process digital information, software, data analysis, writing, design, customer support, these are going to see massive change. Not necessarily fewer jobs, but completely different jobs. Then he invokes the Jevons paradox. When something becomes cheaper, demand increases. ATMs didn't eliminate bank tellers. They made branches cheaper to operate, so more branches opened, so more tellers were hired. Software is getting dramatically cheaper to produce, so demand for software should explode. Every small business, every niche use case, every workflow that was too expensive to automate, now it's affordable. More software, not less. But the role of the software engineer changes completely. Karpathy makes a surprising argument for staying independent from frontier labs. He was at OpenAI. He left. He says when you're inside a frontier lab, you can't be a free agent. There are things you can't say, things the organization wants you to say, side eye conversations when you step out of line. You're financially aligned with the lab, but the lab's interests aren't necessarily humanity's interests. This was the original conundrum OpenAI was founded to solve. It's still not resolved. Outside the lab, Karpathy says he feels more aligned with humanity. He can say whatever he wants. He can contribute at an ecosystem level: education, open research, public understanding. But he acknowledges the trade off. Outside the frontier labs, your judgment drifts. You don't know what's coming down the pipeline. The ideal, he suggests, might be going back and forth, contributing insight for a while, then coming out to maintain independence. That's Karpathy unfiltered on the state of AI in 2026. Skill issue: AI Psychosis, AutoResearch, recursive self improvement through markdown files, and the jagged brilliance of today's models. Full credit to Andrej Karpathy and Sarah Guo on No Priors podcast. Link to the full 66-minute conversation in the description. Comment Andrej, and I'll send you the free cheat sheet with Karpathy's complete setup: the tools, the workflow, the agent orchestration strategy, and the auto research framework. All three guides are in the description: Claude Code, Codex, and 10 repos to 200K. Subscribe for more. See you in the next one.